it look like at home? I mean, after her, you have two other kids and life and life and life. What did it look like at home? Parenting the other kids, how did it change you as a parent? What did it look like?
I always say this. With Cal, I parented by instinct because there were no books, there were no support groups, there was no social. I said to the pediatrician, is there something I can read? Because when I realized what I was dealing with, my initial gut response was understand everything.
Yes.
Get as much information.
Yep.
And knowledge is power.
Yep.
So they gave me the medical textbooks. And I think that was why I went on and did a little bit of a diploma in neurological physiology, because one, I was fascinated. Two, it helped me understand the brain-body connection.
Yeah.
They gave me textbooks to read, and I asked everybody, preschool teachers with a special interest in disabled kids, art courses. I went everywhere. I did everything I possibly could to really, really understand. So I parented by feel, but I got informed.
Yeah.
Then when I had Gabs, I thought, okay, I better do this like everybody else. And I read all the parenting books and I listened to all the parenting, which was quite frankly useless, because if I just done it by feel, I would have done a better job.
Interesting.
And then when Mitch was born, Mitch is exactly 11 years younger than Cal. And they're born on the same day.
Oh, wow.
They're both premature, but he was a little bit further along in gestation. And she wanted a brother. She begged for a sister as well. She begged for a brother. Both girls did. And he was born on her birthday. They're exactly 11 years apart. And he is still her best birthday present. But he came as a kind of a redeemer. You know, Mitch is a big guy. He's a big, powerful, gentle giant, and he just gets his sister. So he kind of was a surprise. We'd never planned him, but God sure planned him. And he was just his sister's best friend. So he was so easy. Wow. He was my easiest child to raise because I was so flippin' tired. You know, Kelly was 12. She had major surgery. I didn't have a choice. He came everywhere with us. He rode in her wheelchair sometimes because I couldn't push a pram and a wheelchair. He was my teammate, and he wanted to be my teammate. And his sister was his best friend. He teased her mercilessly. He still does. He sits on her lap if she's in the wheelchair, wheels himself through shopping malls. He's 6'2". Oh my gosh. Sarah, and he's sitting on his sister's lap going, let's go, baby. You know, he's so down with disability that he came as a kind, and he's funny. So he was really easy. Yeah, redemptive, you said. I was really much older though as well. So I was 11 years older when I had him. I was only ready to be a mom when I had him. Yeah. So he was really easy. I was a very different mom to all three of my kids. Because Kelly had taught me to be present to who the child is, not who you dream the child to be. So I think that disability teaches you that when your first child is your special needs child, is you got to go with the flow, baby. I didn't have expectation, so everything was a beautiful surprise. When it became quite obvious that Gabi was a very gifted dancer, it was like, oh. Well, do you want dance class? We'll do it now. Okay. When it became obvious that Mitch was very gifted athlete, do you want to take classes? Something you want to do? You know, it was just it was a journey with all three of them. Cal being so physically disabled was okay. Yeah, we're going to do this differently. Yeah, and so it kind of taught me to just wait and see. Yeah. What my kids needed or wanted. Yeah. I didn't get it right. I made loads of mistakes. Yeah. Loads of mistakes. But I learned to say sorry. Yeah, that's it, hey? I'm sorry, baby. I've really blown this. It's all about repair. Handled this badly. Yeah. Yeah. And we also learned, because for a lot of the time I was a single mom. We learned to talk. How are you feeling? How can I help? What's going to fix this?
And at times, how are you doing? And I can't do it all. Yeah. You also are limited. You're just one person.
Absolutely.
And so they learn that too.
Yeah, the three of them are
Yeah.
exceedingly close.
Yeah, yeah.
And they just, Cal is adored,
Mm.
and she showers her siblings with love.
Mm.
She just gets them.
Yeah, beautiful.
It's very special.
Yeah.
Their relationship, there's that little picture somewhere that says, if you want to know how to handle special needs kids, watch their siblings. They'll show.
Yep.
So
Good saying. You have to take that.
yeah, it was,
They just always lived it.
yeah, they were just like, it's my sister.
Mm. Tell us about her now.
She's married, and her husband is cerebral palsied,
Mm.
and their love story is beautiful.
Mm.
And sadly, they couldn't. Kelly wanted desperately. They both wanted children, and that didn't happen. Couldn't happen. And that was a blow that took years for both of them. So she's married. She studied early childhood development, worked as a Montessori school teacher for a short period of time, worked as an au pair. But now, because her body gets tireder and tireder, she works as a medical receptionist part-time, and she does administration privately. Simon is an accountant, he's a tax accountant, and he works from home. They have 2 dogs, therapy dogs.
Good.
Lila and Rory. They have 2 cats that are rescues. They have a relatively adapted house. But I think the big thing is they have a house.
They do.
They live completely independently. They have no carers, but they do have assistants. So they have Eunice, who comes in and does all the heavy stuff. And they have me, who handles all emergencies, crises, vet visits, hospitalization visits, heavy stuff lifting, or Mitchell.
Yeah.
They have Mike, who does all the outdoor stuff. So they have a team.
Yeah.
And we're all there because we want to be there. Both Cal and Simon is an only child, and both his parents have passed away. So Simon doesn't have siblings. But Gab and Mitch are on board, fully in whatever it takes.
Beautiful.
And Gabi is expecting her first baby. Kelly is so excited about being an aunt, and everybody's invested in that. So Cal, I think the hardest thing with cerebral palsy is it's not regressive, but it becomes regressive because the body has to work so hard to stand, sit, walk, get in and out of cars, all that kind of thing. So there's wear and tear.
Yeah.
So Cal walks with a walker now. She walked independently up until the age of 34, which was way beyond the prognosis.
Yeah.
The prognosis was wheelchair by 32. She's still not in a wheelchair. She's 38. So she walks with a Zimmer that she calls Sonic.
Oh my gosh, amazing.
Only uses a wheelchair if she has to do something really long distance. She did a 5K fun run a couple years back. She said, I want to do it.
That's so cool.
And I was like, okay. Simon wanted to do it too.
Wow.
So 2 of their best friends, who are able-bodied, said, we'll do it with you. And they did it.
That's beautiful.
And Kelly cried the last K because she was sore.
Oh.
And Janine, who one of her friends who was doing it with her, who's 6 foot herself, went, we're finishing this.
This is your idea.
Take Mom, let's go.
Wow.
Like she still will take on something that's outside of her realm and just do it. She's got a friend that is one of my former dancers, exceptional dancer, who they just became friends. They're the same age. They wrote matric together, and they look for things to do that Kelly can't do, and then they do it together.
Wow.
So they go to concerts, rock concerts, pop concerts, music concerts. And these days, this wouldn't have been the case 25 years ago. You have a golden circle for disabled people.
Yeah.
Chris goes as Kelly's assistant.
Cool.
And they get up to mischief.
Brilliant. I love it.
They find all the concerts they can find in a year. They book them all in advance. And any of the concerts do not have the right facilities, Kristen gets on the phone and goes, can I speak to your organizers, please? You guys haven't considered something. Recently, they got hold of a production company and said, you guys haven't thought this through. Do you know that the coordinator phoned Chris back and went, you're absolutely right. We haven't thought this through.
Brilliant.
Please send us an email of everything your friend needs. Let's see what we can do.
Brilliant. I love that.
So disability isn't something people necessarily avoid anymore.
Yes,
They're looking
yes.
to include
Yes,
people in all
yes.
these events.
And someone with a disability wants to know, I can still try, or I can push, or someone will partner with me. That is so empowering. You don't want people just to pity you and ignore you or stay away. You want to try, give it a go.
And Cal has a young friend who is 16, severely cerebral palsy, non-verbal. She uses a computer to talk. And Cal and her became friends when Kelly was working as the medical receptionist at the physio practice that she was having physio. She's in a wheelchair, electrified wheelchair. She has multiple carers. They now live in the UK. Cal is her once a week counseling buddy.
Wow.
And they get on to the, Zoom or whatever. And she interviewed Cal on her podcast. She's got her own podcast. And when they come to South Africa, Cal goes everywhere with them.
Wow.
They do photo shoots together.
So rad.
They try all kinds of things. This last time they were here, they all went up Table Mountain.
It's epic.
What else have they tried? Table Mountain, a couple of other things they shouldn't be doing. So Kitty's in her big souped up wheelchair
Oh my God.
with her carer.
Yeah.
Cal's in a wheelchair with one of the other carers. And they're like, let's do whatever they said we couldn't do.
That's brilliant.
So they've grabbed this life that they're in by the horns and gone,
let's see what we can do.
Let's see what we can do. So Cal's very involved with other special needs kids.
I love that.
So she spends time with kids that need her love and need her experience.
Yes. And need her example of like, look at what you can accomplish.
Let's do this together.
Yeah.
She's she's brilliant with kids. I always find it interesting when we go somewhere socially and Kelly is seated and you cannot see that she's cerebral palsy. Every single child that enters that room will gravitate to Kelly. And she'll take the time to read a story. And she was a full-time babysitter for for family friends of ours. And the youngest of those two children just celebrated their 21st birthday. And she was invited to the birthday. And Zach had created an honorary Princess Kelly throne where she was to be seated as the queen of the party. She's just had there's been times when life has been so crushing, but it's stuff like that. And what is it? It's relationship. It's where someone's taken the time to get to know Cal, seeing right through the physical limitations and gone, I want to know you. I want to know your heart. And then found themselves falling in love with her because she's very easy to fall in love with. And for a while, she was employed by an international company because it was telephonic work. And of course, Kelly has no speech impediment. So she could do radio with that voice. And so for 2 years, she worked using her voice for an international company. And when the company went, there were some changes that needed to be made. And I can't mention the company, Kelly would kill me, but they kept her on as a paid member of staff for 6 months. And she wasn't. Because they just loved her so much. She's just encountered what she gives wherever.
And that's all we all want to just be valued for who we are. Not dismissed or for who we aren't or where we lack, but just to see really who we are, what we have to give. We all want to give to the world.
Absolutely. And I think she just found herself surrounded by people that were like, okay, let's try. Therapists, doctors, family members, it was never, whenever we wanted to do something as a family, no matter how much it challenged, you know what it's like, the stuff you've got to do the thing. We would just we're not going without her.
Mm.
We're not leaving her behind. So either we do this with her or
We
it's
don't
not
do it.
happening.
Wow.
And you know, it's been, and she's enjoyed a lot of acceptance because I think she grew up with it.
Yeah. So she invites it.
She
I was
invites
gonna say
it.
expect it, but it's invite, you invite it.
Yeah.
I'm worthy of this.
Yeah, I'm gonna do this differently,
Yeah.
but I'm here. And yeah, of course there's been times when she's been misunderstood.
Of course.
I mean, I know this is going to be edited, so this story might seem too much, but many, many years ago, obviously, I was heavily pregnant with Gabi. So Kelly was 6, she was in a wheelchair, and I walked her down to see the Argus cycle twin. And we lived in Clovelly, and it was on the corner of the main road and Clovelly Road. And as often happens when people encounter a wheelchair, the gentleman that was doing the marshalling turned around and spoke to Kelly that as if she was physically impaired. And he said, would you like to wave the flag? And she looked at him and she smiled and she said, no, I'm fine. You're doing fine. You can do it yourself.
Brilliant.
I couldn't stop laughing, Sarah. I was like, you go, girl.
Yeah. Yeah.
You go, girl.
Yeah.
You know, like she could handle stuff like that. Once we were visiting a historical museum, and this very kind gentleman said, I was carrying her. She had splints on her legs, but I don't think he saw them. And she was 7. And he said, don't you think you're a little big for your mom to be carrying you? And she looked at him and she smiled and she said, if I could walk, I'd give anything. My mom carries me because I can't. We went into a presentation. There was a video presentation and there was a lecture. And when we came out, this gentleman was standing, waiting for her with a bunch of roses that he had picked from the rose garden. And he said, I owe you an apology.
Wow.
And she was like, oh, I love roses. And that was it.
That was it. She invites dignity, invites acceptance. Yeah. Wow.
And people are awesome.
They are awesome.
You just explain.
It's true.
We've had some.
Of course.
But
you just let the roll.
You let it go.
And you look for the next person that will be kind.
And it's always surprising.
Yeah.
It's always surprising who is awesome.
Yeah.
Like the little 3-year-old. I was chatting to a friend in the shops, and this gentleman was standing with this small 3-year-old kid, and he was watching me. And it just so happened that the other mom I was talking to was also special needs mommy. And I still said to her through my teeth, I'm going to punch this guy. And so I turned to push her in the wheelchair, and he said, excuse me. And I thought, I'm ready to kick you, brother. And he went, my daughter asked me why your daughter was in the wheelchair, and I didn't want to give her the wrong information. So I wondered if your daughter might explain. And this little bit went, is it so?
Oh.
And Kelly went, no. And she goes, can I ride in your wheelchair? Kelly said, sure. Put the little girl on her lap, and we went shopping with this kid. And Dad said, I'll find you when you're done.
That's how it should be.
And I'm still friends with that young lady. She's a grown adult now. She came to do a couple of dance classes with me over the years. She still checks in. She's in her early 30s. She's a mom. It's just
what a gift.
It's
been all it's been.
It's been awesome.
What do you wish, last question, what do you wish you knew back then? You know, the early days that you know now, that's so true.
I wish I knew, which is impossible to have, I wish I knew where it would all get to. I wish, because there's no definites. I wanted to know when she was much younger, would she be able to have kids? Would she ever be able to, all sorts of things.
Yeah.
I wanted answers. There aren't any.
No.
I think I wish I knew how wonderful it was going to be. I wish people weren't so afraid.
Yeah. Yes. There's fear.
I wish people were, and these days people are more educated.
They are.
But I wish people didn't fear otherness.
I know.
I wish people realize that otherness doesn't mean broken. It means other.
Yeah.
I wish ego wasn't so big in parents. Like, I can't look at this because it reflects poorly on me. I wish I had the tools at the time in speaking to other parents and other members of family to say, this isn't a reflection of you.
Yeah.
She has a brain injury. This isn't about you. So there was a lack of education for parents and cousins and uncles and aunties and grandparents. There was this very outdated belief that somehow you were cursed.
Yes. I mean, I remember people saying to us with Keller, no, not Keller. No. Yes.
We were very involved in church, and we had a pastor attempt to cast out the spirit of cerebral palsy. And I still said to him, are you okay?
Yeah. You need to sit down.
Do you need a cup of tea? Do we need a conversation? So I wish there was a better understanding of otherness. And I wish I could have been bolder about saying, wait, let me help you here. And I think I would have liked to have been superhuman and taken away some of the stuff that hurt you so deeply. And none of us wear that. All moms of special needs kids are superwoman. Every single one of them. All dads, all grandparents, to a certain extent. We just don't have the authority to take away the struggle.
No.
And I still haven't figured out how to easily be in the struggle. It's not easy.
No.
It's hard. It's rewarding, but it's hard. So I learned very early on to say, if Kelly asked me something, I'd go, I don't know, but I'll find out. I'm not sure, but we can find out together. And I think I would have needed to know how very normal growing up cerebral palsy actually is. Just because you're physically limited doesn't eliminate the normalness of being a teenager and falling in love and getting your heart broken. And somehow I didn't get that memo. I thought she was so special that she would be protected from those things. But she did have her heart broken, and she didn't have all her dreams come true. And people did lie to her. I would, because I would never lie to her. I imagine nobody else would do it. And disappointment. I couldn't protect her from disappointment. And I couldn't control how other people were going to handle how she. So there was just the not knowing. And you're never going to have that.
You're never going to know.
You're never going to know until you got to just be fully present to what's happening in the moment. And I think now, where I am now, I'd rather prepare, communicate with, share with, write for other parents with cerebral palsy or physically disabled kids, because there's little things that only another mom knows, that even your therapist can't tell you. That only another mom.
So different.
Because you're basically on the ground with your kid. And I think one of the beautiful things that I didn't realize was that Kelly and I might be mom and daughter, but we're also best friends, because we had to do this. We did this the way we did this. And there's just, she knows me so well and I know her so well. That we are best friends. And that's special.
That's so special.
She called me recently. It was a video call, and I wondered why her head was sideways. And I said, what are you doing? She said, well, I'm just hanging out next to the dishwasher on the floor. I said, what happened? Did you fall? She's like, yeah. I was like, okay. She's like, I wouldn't normally call you mom, but I've been here for an hour and a half. Can you come down and help me? I was like, I'll be there now. Got down there, and she really was struggling to get up. And I was trying to, like, what happens if I put a chair here? And Jeff just went, hold on 1 second. And he hooked his arms in underneath her, and he went 1, 2, 3, and I was on the other side, and he was holding her, and she just lay on me and sobbed and sobbed and sobbed and sobbed. And she's like, can I just not be cerebral palsy just for one day? And it's in those moments that there are no answers. Just hold her. Walk her back to bed, put her in bed, make her favorite hot drink, give her some biscuits and go, 2 painkillers, call me when you need me.
Yeah.
There's no other way to handle it.
No.
So there's some things you just can't fix, but you manage it.
Yeah.
You just get in the mud with her but she's also just got such a sense of humor, Like, lying here for an hour and a half, and of course Simon can't help because he's also cerebral palsy.
Yeah.
And they're hilarious together, like she'll fall and he'll just step over her because what else can he do? Call my mom, please. Call my brother. I mean, we know that a carer is on the cards for the next couple of years. We're going to have to get a carer to be with them. But Kelly is going to push it until she absolutely doesn't have a choice.
Yeah.
That's Kelly.
Yeah.
Let's see how far I can take this one.
Yeah.
Before I need help. So she's just got an indomitable spirit.
She's brilliant.
Yeah, she is kind of.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing all that.
Thank you so much. I don't often get to talk about it, 1, and 2, I know that it helps.
It does help. Yeah, it does help.
Because somebody's feeling heard.
Yes. Yes.
Someone's going,
oh, me too.
Me too. Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
And it's not terrible. It's hard, but it's not terrible.
Yeah.
There's just so much beauty.
Yes.
And it definitely gets easier in the case of cerebral palsy as your child gets older.
Yeah.
It definitely gets easier when your child is able to move and speak. Or, it got a little bit easier for us as she got older and started to take on life by herself.
Yeah. She's amazing. You're amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Parent Reality. We'll see you next time.
Spending time with special needs families is what it's about for us at Parent Reality. To find a hope and encouragement and just know that you are not alone. To find out more about what we do at Parent Reality, you can visit www.parentreality.co.za. We hope that you will visit us again for a podcast or just to spend some time with friends. Goodbye.